Welcome to the Bird Gang Nation Sports Media Show, repping the greatest team of all time. Let's go! Bird Gang 31, he be the host with the most. We going deep, burning teams. They ain't nothing but toast. It's in your rest there. Sirianni put me in coach, running like Miles Sanders till I bump my head on the post. Touchdown! Yeah, that's coming. Devontae's crazy route running. Jalen hurting them, throwing lasers. The Rager Young gunning. Come on! On the D side, we ride, sack him with Fletcher, lay him out on the stretcher. No one can protect you. Watch Darius lay him, shutting down your routes. Come on! In my green John, eating Philly cheesesteaks. Put up your cups, wings up, if you can. Days, the midweek special got you open with JC from Eagles Talk, hitting like B-Dog, baby.
Welcome to another episode of Bird Gang Nation Sports Talk. I'm your host, Bird Gang 31. Today, Nation, we have another very special guest in the house today. We got Evan from Cannon Fire Podcast. How you doing today, Evan? Thanks for coming to the show, my guy.
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No problem, no problem. Go ahead and give everybody a rundown about, your show, the podcast, how long you guys been around, and how long you been a Bucs fan there.
Yeah, so we've been doing the podcast for about 4.5 years now, and it's been so fun. Obviously, experienced a lot of ups and downs. So we're on YouTube, and we're also on any major podcasting platform that you want to listen to. And the funny thing about we were talking about before the show about how I became a Bucs fan is, and this will surprise some viewers. I'm actually not from Tampa. I'm actually near Philadelphia. So I live about 45 minutes to an hour outside of Philly. So the reason is my dad was a Bucs fan. When they became an expansion team, he liked them, and I grew up with that. So I have family members who are Eagles fans. Most of my family members are actually Eagles fans. So there's not really Steelers country here. It's right in the heart of Eagles country. So that's just a lot of people don't realize that. They just think, oh, you cover the Bucs, you're from Tampa. No, I'm actually from the Philadelphia area. So this matchup here hits a little close to home.
Nice. It's going to be have to watch out at tomorrow night in the house, huh? Your dad and everybody, you guys having family over, going to have a nice little rivalry thing going on at the house. Yeah.
Especially I always tell stories about the NFC Championship game in 2002. There was always some heated rivalry stuff there. So
right. So far, how do you like? We've been through 5 games now. How do you like the Tampa Bay Bucs? And tell me something about them.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think they come as advertised with a high-powered offense. Obviously, I think that's their calling card. Wish the defense would be a little bit better, but there's so many injuries right now, especially to the secondary. Obviously, they've had to sign Richard Sherman, and they're still without Carlton Davis and Sean Murphy Bunting, who are 2 of their starting 3 corners when the season began. Mm-hmm. And honestly, the pass rush on the defensive side just hasn't been as effective as it was last year. And I think that's a big key to them turning this around, because right now, the defense has really struggled against some teams like the Cowboys, the Falcons, the Rams really gave it to them. Even teams like the Patriots and Dolphins, who aren't the best offenses, really had some success. So they got to clean some things up. But I mean, the offense right now is really clicking on all cylinders. So we'll see if they can, and we will see if they can continue that on Thursday night.
Nice. Are you expecting them to be 5-1 at this point?
Well, when you look at the schedule, you saw some favorable games. I knew LA game was going to be a tough one. That's a tough road game. I think LA is still one of the best teams in the league, so that's tough for your first road game. And like I said, the injuries, I expect them to be in a similar spot. When the season started, I expect them to be in this spot with maybe one, maybe two losses. Any more than that would be a surprise at this point in the season. But yeah, I mean, so far, they've been getting the wins where I've expected them to get the wins. It's just maybe not how I thought they would get those wins.
Mm-hmm. Who's your favorite players right now going into this matchup on your team? I see you guys got 3 really good receivers in Evans, Godwin, and Brown over there. Who do you figure is the best receiver on our team? Is Brown only eating because those other 2 guys are taking up all the coverage? Or do you think Brown's legit like number 1 still, even though he's playing in the slot?
I'll tell you what. I mean, he's still playing like he's like this is 2015. I mean, this is vintage Antonio Brown right now. Honestly, I think as far as talent goes, I still think Mike Evans is the best wide receiver on the team. But I mean, you listen to the Bucs reporters, and even on our show, we said during training camp, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, so talented, very talented players. But Antonio Brown was the guy who really stood out. Like he was like the best receiver they had in training camp. And so far he's come as advertised. So, it's strange because the Bucs have so many weapons that there's only one football. You can't you can't get all these guys all these yards every game. So there's been a few games where Antonio Brown was kind of, a non-factor. New England in week 4, I believe Atlanta didn't really play that well. But then, if somebody else is a non-factor, Chris Godwin or Mike Evans is stepping up and they're getting over 100 yards. So it's just the beauty of having all these weapons right now. And like I said, though, there's only one ball to go around. So last week it was really the Mike Evans and AB show. This week it could be completely different. You have no really clue just based on coverages and stuff. But you're right. I mean, it's a tough ask, I think, for any defense to be able to cover all 3 of these guys, especially when the quarterback's Tom Brady.
And then you got Gronkowski over there. Is he hurt still? Is he not playing this tomorrow night, or is he playing tomorrow night?
Yeah, he'll be out. The Bucs were hopeful that he would be able to play, but it doesn't sound like he'll be able to. It's a big loss for the Bucs. It doesn't sound like he'll be able to play. He should be good to go from possibly the next game versus Chicago in week 7, but for this game versus Philly, yeah, he is out.
Who's going to start at tight end for you guys?
Well, they have O.J. Howard, the former first-round pick, and they have Cameron Brate. So right now, behind Gronkowski, they don't really have a solidified starter once Gronk went down. I think it's kind of a committee thing. Both guys got a few targets versus Miami, but not much. So they're really putting more emphasis on the receivers and the running backs catching these passes now instead of the tight end. So I would be on the lookout, though, for O.J. Howard or Cameron Brate versus those Eagles linebackers who, I mean, the Eagles – I've watched the 2 teams I watched the most are the Bucs and the Eagles linebackers have really struggled so far this year. So that'd be an interesting matchup to watch.
True that. That's a fact over there. To me, that's our weak spot on our defense. I think everybody else playing pretty good. Just that linebacker core need to definitely shore up. Who else is injured for the Bucs going into this game?
Yeah, so Antoine Winfield Jr., key piece in the secondary, is going to be out. And obviously, Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy-Bunting are still out, while Jason Pierre-Paul and Jamel Dean have returned. It doesn't sound like Antoine Winfield's going to play. He was in concussion protocol. This is one where I think if this was a Sunday game, you might have been able to play. But the fact that this is a short week, it's tough. And obviously the big one on defense is Levante David. He's out. And that's a big loss for them, especially with a guy like Jalen Hurts. What's that?
Is Shaq out too?
No, Shaq Barrett's good to go. But Levante David. That's a big loss. That's a big loss, especially with a quarterback that can scramble like Jalen Hurts. Obviously, the Bucs still have Devin White there, but it's tough. It's going to be a tough challenge.
Yeah, man. You said enough key pieces. Gronk's out, Winfield's out, David's out. I did not know that part. So thank you very much for making me feel a little bit better there. Because we need any help we can get. To beat a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, have you been, like you said, you've been watching the Eagles play? Give me your take on the Eagles so far this year.
Yeah, honestly, I was pretty high on Philly coming into the year. I thought a lot of people were predicting them to be one of the worst teams in the league. And I was like, anytime a team can have a top defensive line and a top offensive line, no matter what the positions are around them, I think they're still going to be competitive. So I know some people weren't Jalen Hurts believers. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm not completely sold he's a franchise guy yet, but I also don't think the Eagles need to be shopping for a quarterback.
Right.
But I just think, the defensive line, the offensive line was going to keep them in some of these games, and they have. The secondary struggled against Kansas City. Who's not going to struggle against Kansas City?
Right.
The linebackers, we knew it was a weakness going in, right? And it's been a weakness. But honestly, every year it seems like the injuries really hit Philly hard, and this year's no different, especially along the offensive line. I believe, last week, the week versus Kansas City, 4 of their starting offensive linemen were out. So, I think Philly has been fine. I don't think they've been spectacular, but I also don't think they've been awful. I think there's definitely areas of improvement, but there's a lot of strengths, and I think in this particular matchup, there's going to be a lot of tough matchups for the Bucs.
Especially on that offensive side of the ball. We got 3 guys, not as good as your 3, but we got 3 that are some speedsters there in Quez Watkins, Rager, and Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith's a rookie, but he is already seeming to be one of the best route runners in the league right now. How do you think your cornerback, your backup cornerback is going to fare against Devontae Smith?
Yeah, so that's a real worry. I'm not really worried about the Bucs offense. I just think there's so much talent there that the Bucs offense will be able to not maybe score. I don't think they're going to drop 45, but I don't necessarily believe that. But I think the Bucs offense could have a good day. But the Bucs defense is where I'm concerned, and mostly because of what you said, Devonta Smith, Quez Watkins, Jalen Rager, all those guys aren't like a Mike Evans. They're not, they're smaller guys, but they're quick, right? And that's something that the Bucs corners really don't have a lot of. A lot of the Bucs corners are lengthy guys that aren't going to run very fast. Richard Sherman, for example, he's a good corner. He's not a fast corner. He's not a guy that's going to be able to run with a guy like Deshaun Jackson or something. He's not that type of guy. So that's a concern. My biggest concern is the use of screens in Sirianni's offense because the Bucs have really had trouble tackling so far this season, specifically his secondary, and with a screen,
our linebacker has been struggling tackling this year.
with a screen, all it takes is 1 or 2 missed tackles that turn a 5-yard gain into a 20-yard gain, and we'll see what happens, but I think it's going to be a challenge. I don't think a lot of people are talking about it because I do think Philly's wide receiver core. It's not there yet, but it's ascending, and they've been playing well. So I do think that it's going to be a challenge.
Hey, we're going to throw a nugget your way. We might not have our starting tight end and Dallas Goedert. So, hey, how about that? You get to only worry about hurt.
There we go.
There's a token back to you. But, yeah, like you said, with our starting offensive line, man, we only got 2 starters that started out the season, Mailata and Kels. You know what I'm saying? Those are the only 2 starters. The rest are fill-in players too. But like you said, they've been playing good. You know what I'm saying? Diller's actually been coming to his own. He had a horrible offseason. But, since he's been starting the first game he started, he was penalty red, but he didn't give up any sacks. So I was like, okay, I see how everybody's being down on him. But, he didn't give up any sacks, so you got to give him a plus. So let's see if he can carry it into the next game. And the next game as well, he hasn't given any sacks up. So he hasn't given any sacks, and he's still playing at a pretty decent level. You know what I'm saying? Mailata just got back last week. He's got moved to the right side, which, coming off injury when you were practicing left tackle all year long, getting to the right side is a little bit of a difference. He did give up 2 sacks, but they're back-to-back sacks, just speed rushes off the end. And, it is what it is. He was rusty coming back, so I'm hoping this short week he gets some mental reps there to get him back in line. We got Landon Dickerson, the rookie, and, he's been playing some solid ball. He's getting better every game. And then we got Jack Driscoll playing that guard spot. So Drax is a pretty good guy. He's a rookie last year, but he's been playing. I thought he was better at tackle, but he's very versatile, I guess. So now we're playing some, guard there. So we'll see how that works out again against your defensive front because you got some monsters over there too. You know what I'm saying? Dominican Sue, JPP playing with a club on his arm, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's dealing with a pretty significant injury. He's trying to fight through it right now.
And then the Vita Beta, right? That's what they call it, Vita Beta.
Yeah,
That guy's a monster too. So, man, tell me some matchups you most concern you going into this game against the Eagles. Give me like 4 matchups that concern you: 2 on offense and 2 on defense.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go on the Bucks offensive side first. The Bucks guards. I think Ali Marpet and Alex Kappa are both good players, but I mean Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave, specifically Javon Hargrave, who's been having just a fantastic season so far. They can cause trouble, I think, for any offensive line, and if they get going, it could be a long day. One of the keys to stopping Tom Brady, and really, a lot of people say, "Oh, did Tom Brady just hit him?" I think that's any quarterback. If you're able to hit him, that's a key to stopping him. But if he's not able to step up in that pocket, and the guards get pushed back by Cox and Hargrave, it makes things much more difficult. And they just, the Eagles' coverage might not be as good, but it won't matter if Brady doesn't have time. So I think that's a huge matchup. The other matchup I will say is probably the Bucks tight ends versus the Eagles running linebackers. I do think that there's going to be some opportunities for the Bucks tight ends to have a mismatch or two against the Eagles linebacker, and they got to take advantage of that. And then the 2 on defense, I'll probably say the Bucks secondary versus the Eagles wide receiver core. I still do want that to see how that pans out. And also I'm going to say the Bucks linebackers versus Jalen Hurts. I do think that there's going to be opportunities here for Hurts to be able to scramble and gain yards on the ground, not necessarily through the air. And it's going to be a really interesting, I think, a key part of the game for the Bucks linebackers to be able to maybe not completely contain Hurts, just don't let him run wild. And I think that's a huge matchup.
Yeah, for me, I'll have to definitely go with the receiver game. You know what I'm saying? These young guys are coming into their own. If you watch the All-22 on the Eagles game, man, these guys have really been open a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? Jalen just hasn't got them the ball. I think we need to switch up from just running an RPO-based offense and run more of a traditional offense too. We can keep the RPO game in there because it does help, but I don't think you should be doing it the whole game. And we definitely need to use Miles Sanders. So, the receivers versus your backup cornerback would be a matchup I would like to see, going into this game. That I think would be a pretty good matchup. Watch how they cover these guys. Are you going to double team Devontae Smith or not? You know what I'm saying? Is Quez Watkins going to get one-on-one? What happened if you got Sherman on Quez? I don't think that's a good look for you guys, considering how fast Quez Watkins is. So that's one matchup. And then, like you said, too, the linebackers against Jalen Hurts in this running game. You know what I'm saying? Miles Sanders, I believe, will get more carries this game. I think he'll start getting more carries. Maybe not the full load like we've been all praying for him to get. But I think Sirianni is going to realize, that he has to run the ball a little bit more than what he's been doing to help out this offense. How about the offensive line? How about the defense for keeping them off the field a little longer so they can get some rest and things like that? So I think that would be another big thing on offense. On defense, the matchup was also going to be the cornerbacks. You know what I'm saying? We got big play Slace, Nelson Island, and Maddox going against, your big three. Can they hold up? You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you got to get to Tom Brady first. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't been playing this long for no reason. He throws the ball in like 2 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Hike throw. It's out of his hand. So I want to see my defensive linemen getting their arms up, try to get to bat some of them balls down. But yeah, I want to see how definitely these guys match up against them defensively. Also, another one would probably be even like the safeties coming down in the box helping the run game, because you guys got 3 good backs now too. Like we talked all that about the receivers, but Fournette isn't a joke. You know what I'm saying? Jones, whenever he's not in you guys' doghouse, he makes some noise out there too, but he seems to be in that doghouse a lot lately. But then you guys signed Benjamin, right? Or Bernard.
Yeah, Giovanni Bernard. Yep.
Giovanni Bernard, yeah. And that guy lately has been catching touchdowns and doing his things out of the backfield. So those are 3 running backs that our linebackers going to definitely have to prepare for. So that would be my main matchups I would like to see. And then we got a question for you. It says, what's 3 Bucks rookies that impressing you so far?
Well, yeah, the tough thing is with the Bucks, it hasn't been a traditional rookie class per se, because they haven't played much. The rookies haven't really played much. Obviously, we all hear the storyline about how the Bucks brought back all 22 starters, and when you bring back all 22 starters, there's not really any room for rookies to play a whole lot. So, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who was their first round pick, he got 2 sacks in the game versus New England. He's flashed a lot, so I would say obviously he has to be on there. But other than that, to be honest with you guys, the Bucks rookies haven't played enough for me to be able to say if any of them impressed me. Jalen Darden, the receiver. Oh, Jalen Darden, the receiver, they picked in the 4th round. He played well in training camp, and did play well in the preseason. He's a guy on the lookout. But receiver, right? Where's his snaps going to come? Right, with this wide receiver core, how is he going to get snaps?
Right. Who's your 4th receiver over there?
It's Tyler Johnson right now, who's a good player. He's
guy.
Yeah, and also, well, they have Scotty Miller, who currently is on IR right now, but he's more like the speedster type guy.
Have Johnson been on your team for a while? Got like a first.
This is his second year. Yeah, this is his second year. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I like I said, Darden in the preseason and training camp impressed people. And in the regular season, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka has really impressed people. So I probably give you 2 guys instead of 3, but those 2 have really stood out.
Well, just give us a 3rd player, just a player in general that impressed you the most so far.
Yeah,
because we already know he's impressive. So
I am gonna say Giovanni Bernard. I do think he's added a different element to the offense. Something that they didn't have last year was a reliable pass catching running back. Leonard Fournette's actually been good catching the ball out of the backfield this year, but last year it was a mess. I mean, Leonard Fournette couldn't catch the ball. Ronald Jones couldn't catch the ball. Didn't matter what they seemed to do. They would those guys would literally just slow any momentum the offense had. So they went out, they got Giovanni Bernard, and he's been as advertised. I wish they would use him a little bit more. I think he could be used a little bit more in some different ways, but when he's been used, he's been effective.
You think it's because Fournette's been doing so good catching the ball out of the backfield?
Yeah, I do think that's a factor. Yeah, and I mean, he's earned it. I mean, Fournette has earned more snaps for sure, especially, running the ball and catching the ball. He hasn't made too many mistakes, but I still do think that the best pass-catching running back on the roster is still Gio Bernard.
Nice. So do you think this is going to be a high-scoring game, or do you think it'll be more of a close-scoring game, low-scoring game?
I do think it could be a high-scoring game. I think both of these offenses are poised for some big days. Like I said, I already talked about. I don't love the Eagles' offense versus the Bucks' defense. I just think that what the Bucks' defense does versus what the Eagles do, it just doesn't match up well for the Bucks. And I think the Eagles could really exploit some of their weaknesses. Especially with a guy like Levante David not there. I think that's a big key. The banged up secondary still versus the Eagles, twitchy sort of receivers. Jalen Hurts' ability to scramble. I think that's a huge factor here. I think, the Bucks have actually they've had sacks, but they've had so many opportunities where they've missed sacks because they can't bring guys down. Well, Jalen Hurts is going to be able to avoid those as well. So they're going to have to be better at that. But on the Bucs side of the offensive side of the ball, look, the Eagles defense played well last week, but I mean, it's a different animal going up against this offense. And right now they seem to be clicking on all cylinders. It's tough for any defense to really stop this offense. It's a really tough ask. I mean, even the Rams, who have a pretty good defense, the Bucs had, some success against the Rams. They really did. So, I do think we could be in for a pretty high-scoring game with these offenses both having good days.
Do you think they're going to spy Jalen Hurts?
Sometimes I don't. Todd Bowles hasn't done that a ton when he's faced scrambling quarterbacks. It's not like they have. It's just a guy, who is just specifically on Jalen Hurts. But I think they could do that if they were. I think it would be like Devin White because their backup linebacker who's going to start in this game in place of Levante David is Kevin Minter. And while Minter is a serviceable backup, he's not as fast as Levante David. So if you're going to have a spy on Jalen Hurts, you want it to be the faster of the two players, and Devin White definitely fits that bill. So if they were going to do that, which I'm not sure they will, but if they were going to do that, I think they would put Devin White as the spy on Hurts.
Okay. He has. I got a question. How long have you been a Bucks fan?
My whole life. I'm 20 years old, so my whole life. I was alive when they won their first Super Bowl, but I was not. I was a little baby, and then obviously last year when they won the second, I remember that very well. So
Hey, that's lucky for you, man. I'm like, I'm up there. I've only seen one Eagles Super Bowl. I've seen 2 Super Bowl games, but we only brought on 1 championship. So you already got 2 at 20, my guy. That's good.
Yeah, and I mean, and most of them, 3 out of the 4 experiences involve Tom Brady. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. All right. He said, so what else do I want to say? Do you think the Eagles? Okay, yeah, I got a better one for you. Be the Eagles offensive coordinator and then be the Eagles defensive coordinator, and what we should do to be successful in this game against the Bucks.
Yeah, well, as far as being on offense, I think you got to find ways to get your receivers out in space. I think give the receivers chances to make the Bucks miss tackles. Give your receivers chances to break those tackles and get upfield. The Eagles' offensive line's banged up. I don't know if I would take too many deep shots. I don't want Hurts really holding the ball that long because the Bucks' defensive line's still good, right? And I think they could cause some issues if you're holding the ball that long. So I would want to get the ball out of Hurts' hands relatively quickly, and I would want to give my receivers chances in the open field to make plays. As far as on the defensive side, it's so tough. I mean, you can play zone, but then the Bucks are able. Tom Brady's notoriously known for picking apart zone. You can play man, but then you got to worry about the big play potentially. I think it all comes down to the Eagles' defensive line. If they give Brady all day and this offense all day to sit back there and do what they want, it could be a long day. But I think you got to be able to disrupt them, and you got to be able to disrupt them with 4. Blitzing against Tom Brady doesn't really work out too well. So you got to be able to get home with 4, and I think that's a big key for the Eagles on defense.
Okay. Take another question. What do you think about the matchup as far as receivers versus corners on both sides of the field?
Yeah, I mean, like I said about the corners with the Bucks, just not a great matchup for them because they're banged up. If they were fully healthy, maybe it's a little bit better. But they're a banged up group right now who struggle to tackle. And I think, with the amount of screens that Sirianni has run so far this season, I think he's going to look to do it even more in this game. And I think you could see a pretty, maybe not the long ball, right? 25, 30 yards in the air, but I think you could see a couple of screens from Hurts to Watkins, Hurts to Rager, Hurts to Smith, whoever, Hurts to Miles Sanders, stuff like that, and have them get out in space and break a few tackles and get 10, 15 yards. So as far as the Eagles corners, I mean, Darius Slay is a good player. He'll probably be matched up with Mike Evans. It's just, it's really it just tests your cornerback depth so much because the Bucks might have 3 number 1 wide receivers. So there's gonna be a mismatch there. Yeah, there's gonna be a mismatch there, right? There always is going to be because no team has 3 number 1 corners to match up with 3 number 1 wide receivers. Right. So I think for the Eagles secondary, it's all about matching up and just trying to, you're not going to shut down the Bucks passing attack. I just think it's a matter of trying to contain it.
Nice. Do you feel at all that this could be a trap game?
I do. For the Bucks, I think it's a short week. Like I said, it's a short week on the road in a tough environment to play. Obviously, I know how loud the link gets, and I know firsthand Philly fans. The only team outside of Philly that I root for is the Bucks. I'm a Phillies, Flyers, Sixers fan. So
man,
I know. So I know how Philly fans are because basically I am one of them, right? So it's going to be a tough environment to play and to win, especially with the Eagles coming off a win. They really, they want to get back to 500. This is a big game for them. You got to be able to win these types of games. It's a game nobody's really expecting them to win, and I think that's when they really play their best. So I think it could be a trap game for Tampa, and I think they're just so banged up. I think they're going to really have to be on their P's and Q's here.
And I know you guys generally are a good run stopping defense. It's your pass defense that kind of is a little bit, less oppressive. But do you think there's any chance that if we were to start running booby, since all the game tape for the Eagles has been mostly passing, that you guys might over prepare for the pass and then we'd be able to sneak off some runs there?
Maybe, but I do think that could work maybe early on. But I think as the game went on, the Bucs, the thing is, the Bucs have really good just run stuffers that are on the field all the time. Like Vita Vea is on the field constantly. Ndamukong Suh is on the field constantly. Devin White's strength is stopping the run, blitzing and being able to get in the backfield, stop the run. So I think the Bucs would be able to sniff that out pretty quickly. Maybe early on, the first 2-3 drives, it's something, especially like a draw play or something that the Eagles can really work around and can find some success early on. But teams just aren't running against the Bucs. They're not doing it, and the Bucs are last in like every passing category, as far as defense goes. But a lot of it is so skewed because teams are just throwing the ball so much. So when every team is throwing the ball 50 times a game against the Bucs, of course those numbers are going to be higher than anybody else in the league. Right. So the Bucs run defense is still number one in the league. It was number one last year. It was number one the year before that. It's just, teams have learned to just not even really attempt to run the ball. So I know a lot of people have been calling for Sirianni to use Miles Sanders. I've seen it, right? But I just don't know if you're going to get your wish this week, just because, the Bucs are just so banged up in the secondary right now, and trying to run the ball against Tampa is not a key for success.
Not a key for success, but it should be, considering that's the only way you're going to kick TB12 off the field.
That's true.
We got another question for you. You said 3 keys to the Bucs to win, 3 keys for the Eagles to win.
Yeah, I'll do the Bucs first. I think number 1 is obviously protecting Tom Brady. Number 2 has got to be containing Jalen Hurts. Just keep him in the pocket, right? If don't let him, on a 3rd and 11, don't let him be able to scramble out and get 12 yards. Be able to keep him in the pocket. And then third, I just think you just got to play a disciplined game. Both of these teams have struggled mightily with penalties so far this season. I think the Eagles, for a while, the Eagles were the first team in the NFL as far as most penalties go. The Bucs were second, so the Bucs were right behind them. So
the one that you don't want to be leading in. Yes.
That's right. Yeah, that is the one. So you got to stay disciplined. I think that's a key. And as far as the Eagles go, I think obviously you gotta hit Tom Brady, and then you gotta find ways, like I talked about, to get your receivers in space against this secondary. And then also, I'm gonna say another key: you gotta stay disciplined. You got. I think at the end of this game, we're gonna look and see who won, and then you're gonna see the penalties. And I think that's gonna be a big indicator of who won this game. Whoever cleans up the penalties the most.
Yeah, man, I got to piggyback off that penalty thing. We got to eliminate them. They went down a little last week, but still, they're still too high. They're still costing us points. So we need to make sure, especially in the red zone, we execute in the red zone. We don't get penalties. We don't kick field goals because, it's just like Patty Mahomes. When you're going against Tom Brady, you can't match his touchdowns with field goals. That's not going to help us out at all, and we'll probably lose the game. Another thing is Nick Sirianni, regardless if they're the number 1 defense or not in rushing, we got to establish some sort of running game. That's going to open up your passing game a lot more. You never know if you pop off a couple of them just to pop up those linebackers. They're already missing a key linebacker. So pop up the ones that are in the game. They might be eager to make a play. You might find some success over the top going deep. And then definitely pressure up the middle with Fletch and Hargraves. Hargraves one of the best defensive tackles in the league right now. You know what I'm saying? He got 6 sacks already. I'm looking for him to continue that pace and go ahead and get in there, put some pressure up the middle on Tom Brady. We all know he's not the most mobile quarterback ever. So I think if we can get him up the pressure with Barnett and Sweat coming off the ends, they're actually speed rushers on the end. So, and they speed with power. So I think we can get some pressure on Tom Brady. If he can't get the ball to Godwin, Brown, Evans, then, that's be a good way to win the game as well. So, and then there was that 2 or 3. I just throw another one out there. Special teams, man. I think our punter is the best punter in the league right now. You know what I'm saying? He is booting the hell out of that ball. And, and I think we're going to need good special team play. Last week we blocked a punt. You know what I'm saying? We need to keep all field goals, make all field goals, more good punts. And then, obviously if we can get a block somewhere in there, that'll be good as well.
Yeah, I mean that's good points, obviously, and the Bucs special teams have been pretty good this year. So I think the special teams battle could be one where it's won or lost. The game is won or lost with that.
He said, "How about hockey? Flyers fan, baseball, Philly fan."
Yep. I am literally 3 for 4 as far as the Philly professional sports teams go.
Is Philly like your second favorite NFL team? Like, do you root for Philly if we're not playing the Bucs, or are you just Bucs only for the NFL?
Yeah, I don't root against the Eagles per se, but I don't necessarily root for the Eagles, but I also don't really root against them. There's a few teams in the NFL I will root against. There's a few teams that I just don't like the Saints. I don't like the Saints.
Do you like the Cowboys?
No, nobody likes the Cowboys.
Nobody likes the Cowboys.
I Phillies, Flyers, Sixers. I am all the way there with all those guys except for the Bucs. So I watch, like I said, I watch a ton of Eagles football, and I've watched a ton of it over the years. So I'm pretty well versed with both teams, though.
Nice. They control the Bucs run game. They have a solid rotation with Fournette and Jones. Yeah, man, that's another thing too. I really think, we've been getting gashed in the run. You know what I'm saying, this year, because our zone defense we've been playing, and I think that's one guy you definitely don't want Fournette to get started, because that's a big boy too. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of like Zeke. When you get those big boys, you let them start rolling. They start rolling over people start getting hurt on defense. So we definitely gonna have to keep those guys in check for sure.
Yeah. It's
any more questions?
I mean, the Eagles have been decent against defending the pass, but as far as the run goes, it's been tough sledding for them. So yeah, they're gonna have to be a little bit better. The good news is that they still are playing a Bucs offense that typically, if they had to choose, they're more likely to pass than run. They're not a run-heavy team, so that's the good news for Philly.
Run 60-40, or do they run 75-25?
70-30. Yeah, I'll say 70-30. It's going to be a pass, yeah.
All right. Well, hey, shout out to the 12 in the chat. Please like and subscribe to both of our channels. Both links are inside the chat. Help get our content out to other fans. Thank you guys for joining with me. At the end of my shows, what I like to do is I like to do an all-time Eagles team, or whatever team you're on. And obviously, since you're a Bucs fan, we're going to do an all-time Bucs team. I'm going to give you a position and players. And like I said, this is your team. You don't have to worry about, wrong answers, right answers, just your team. And we'll go from there. Wait, before we do it, we got another question for you. Any Bucs trade rumors that Cannon Fire podcast may come true?
No, none right now. I know obviously the Bucs have, they've been seemingly signing everybody, right? Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, Ndamukong. They have all these guys, right? I get it, but right now there's really nothing.
Nice. So let's start it off with, who is your favorite Bucs quarterback, and who will be backing them up?
Well, I mean, I think the answer is easy. It's got to be Tom Brady, I think, as the starter. For the backup, I will go Jameis Winston. I think Jameis Winston. Yeah, I mean, for a backup, why not? For a guy that can, if Brady goes down, he can come in and win you a game or two. He can give you a spark. So, why not go with Jameis Winston?
He said, Grant Kazir said, deal for give me 3 running backs.
Yeah, so this one's a little bit tougher. The Bucks haven't really had any of those like elite running backs per se. I will say probably work done back in the late 90s, early 2000s. He was really good. So I'll say work done. I'm going to count Mike Allstott as a running back, so he can be like my goal line guy. You know, when I need to punch it in, I'll give it to the A train. And then as far as the third one, I'll probably say Doug Martin. I think Doug Martin's been good. Eric Brett was a good back as well, but I'll say
good one.
Yeah. He definitely was. But I grew up with the Doug Martin stuff. I'm a little bit biased towards Doug Martin, so I'll say Doug Martin as my third string running back behind Dunn and Allstott. Why not Martin?
All right, give me 2 tight ends.
Oh man, well, Jimmy Giles is one of the greatest tight end in franchise history. So his name is up in the stadium. So I think I got to go with him as one of them. And the other one, I'll probably say Rob Gronkowski.
Oh, he put the Gronkowski in there already
Yep.
after 1 year. I like it. Give me 4 receivers.
I think you got to go Mike Evans. I'm gonna go with Vincent Jackson, who I mean was a really good player for the Bucks.
I forgot about him.
Yeah. I mean, he was really good in Tampa. So I'll say those are my 2 top guys. As far as the other 2, off field aside, Keyshawn Johnson was a great player for the Bucks. So yeah, I think you got to put him in there. And then the fourth one, you know what? Since I'm on a Philly show, the fourth one I'll say Joe Jurevicius, because I know a lot of people in Philly do not love Joe Jurevicius.
I thought you were about to say Deshaun Jackson.
Well, yeah, Deshaun Jackson didn't make the impact. I'm trying to rate these guys on what they did in the Bucks uniform, and Deshaun Jackson was he's an exciting player. I think we all know that, but just in Tampa, it was just such a letdown.
Yeah, the second time in Philly too, he was hurt majority. Whenever he did play, he was electric, but he didn't play very often. Grant Kazir, Doug Martin was a beast too.
Yeah, he had a stretch there. I remember his game versus Oakland in his rookie season. 250 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. It was like one of the highest fantasy point days of all time or something. It was insane.
That Ron Hall for tight end, Jacquez Green receiver.
Oh yeah, but I mean the Bucks have had just such good receivers. Jacquez Green ain't gonna make the cut,
right? Give me a starting offensive line.
Okay, so I think I got to go at tackle. I think I'm going to put Paul Gruber at tackle. He's another guy who's one of the best Bucks offensive linemen of all time. Ali Marpet at guard. Who's their current guard. As far as center, I'm going to say Ryan Jensen. Ryan Jensen's been a good center for him. The other guard. This might be a little bit of a shock, but Davin Joseph was just a solid starter for them. Just a guy that was not going to make many mistakes, just a solid guy. And the other tackle, I'll go with Donald Penn, because he was a really good tackle for him. So I would say Tristan Wirfs, not yet, not quite yet. I'll go with Donald Penn.
He said Tony Mayberry.
He was a good player.
Yeah. Who would be on your defensive line?
Yeah, so this is going to be a fun one. Obviously, interior, I think the 2 guys I'm going to have on the interior are Warren Sapp and Vita Vea. I think those guys in the interior would just wreck house. And then the 2 guys on the edges, I'll go with Simeon Rice and probably Leroy Selman. Who was one of the Leroy Selman, the first draft pick in history, one of the best players in history. So Simeon Rice, Leroy Selman with Warren Sapp and Vita Vea in the middle. I mean, I don't know how anybody's stopping that. So
Sapp is nasty by himself, man.
Yeah.
Adding with those boys, that'd be crazy. Give me 3 linebackers.
I'm gonna go Levante David, Derek Brooks, and Hardy Nickerson. I'm gonna say that's my 3 linebackers right there.
Nice, dude. That's nice. Give me 3 cornerbacks.
Rondé Barber.
Rondé,
Yeah, gotta be Eagles fans know Rondé well.
Yes, we do know Kanye well. Oh, yeah. And his
Uh,
brother
um,
TK.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, Rondé Barber. You know, the Bucks. The corner's another position where the Bucks really haven't had that elite guy. But Rondé was one of them. Donnie Abraham was another one in the late '90s, early 2000s. So I'll say Donnie Abraham, and I'll also put in there. I'll put a guy like Aqib Talib in there. Why not? Aqib Talib was good in Tampa.
He was a good one in there.
Yeah, yeah,
He's good.
he was a good player. So I think especially with that defensive line that I have in front of him, you know, the
Right.
secondary. I mean, they don't need to be that great because the defensive line is going to dominate.
All right. Who's gonna be the 3 safeties?
So I'll go John Lynch as like, you know, that's just that guy that's going to intimidate you, right? You got to put John Lynch in there. As far as some other ones, Dexter Jackson, the Super Bowl 37 MVP, I gotta give some respect to him. So John Lynch and Dexter Jackson, and then my other safety. You know, this is actually going to come as a shock. I'm going to go with a current Bucks player. I'm going to go with Jordan Whitehead, who's a strong safety. He plays in the box a lot. He's a big key in how they stop the run. So I'm going to go with Jordan Whitehead as well.
Nice. That's not bad. Who's gonna be your kicker and who's gonna be your punter?
Well, the Bucks have had struggles with kickers. Obviously, I think everybody knows that. But it's tough for me to say Ryan Suckup because he's the current guy. The obvious answer would probably be Martin Gramatica. So I'll say Gramatica. He has the Super Bowl. He was a consistent kicker for him. I'll say Gramatica. And then the punter, I'll probably have to go with their current punter, Bradley Pinion, who's been having an awesome year so far. So they haven't really had a great punter. So I'll go with Bradley Pinion.
And a kickoff returner, punter returner, and a long snapper.
Oh, man. Well, long snapper, I'll just go with their current long snapper. His name's Zach Triner, so whatever. He can be a long snapper. Kick returner and punt returner. So the Bucks really haven't had anybody be a kick returner, punt returner type guy. I guess I'll go with Michael Spurlock. He returned the first ever kick in Buccaneers history for a touchdown. He returned. It was the first kick returned. It was 2007. They hadn't have a kickoff return for a touchdown in how many years, you know. So I'll go with Spurlock as the kick returner. And the punt returner, that's where I'll put in Deshaun Jackson. Why not?
Yeah,
I'll put Deshaun Jackson.
Jackson makes the list. Woo-hoo. Who'll be the defensive coordinator of this team?
That's a good one because it's got to be between, I think, Todd Bowles or Monty Kiffin.
Right.
With the personnel that I have, it's more geared towards that 2002 defense. So I'll say my coordinator is Monty Kiffin.
Offensive coordinator?
Probably because my offense is more modern. Probably Byron Leftwich.
And a head coach.
It's either between Bruce Arians or Tony Dungy. I'll give the edge to Arians. Arians has the ring in Tampa, and Dungy doesn't. So I'll have to give the edge to Arians.
All right, man. That is, like he says, an awesome Bucks all-time team there, buddy. I like it. So go ahead and give everybody a last rundown of where they can find you at on all your platforms.
Yeah, so you can find me personally on Twitter at Evan NFL. You can find the Cannon Fire Podcast on Twitter at Cannon Fire Pod. You can find the Cannon Fire Podcast show on YouTube or anywhere you listen to a podcast, any major podcasting platform. So we're working our way to 3,000 subscribers on YouTube. We hope you can join us.
Yep, man. Go ahead and go subscribe to him. Like I said, his link is in here. If there are any Carolina, Tampa Bay fans in the chat, subscribe to BIRDGANG Nation Sports Talk. That would be awesome. And much love to you, man. Thanks again for coming on the show. We got a trifecta on the show tonight, fans. So check me out 2 more times. We got next coming up, the weekly, the midweek special. And then tonight we got another, the pewter the Pewter Podcast coming on to the show tonight. So much love for you. Thanks again for joining the show. And fly, Eagles, fly. Wait. Before we go do that, we forgot a score prediction.
Okay,
We need a
so
score
you,
prediction.
you want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay. I think this is a tough game. I talked about how this is a tough matchup. I think this is going to be a close game. I think both teams are going to really want to win this one. It's going to be a tough fight. I'm going to give the edge to the Bucks because I think the Bucks they're the better team. I think. I don't really think, there's much debate about that. I think the Bucks are the better team. They're banged up, which is I think is going to make this a closer game. I'm going to say 31-27. The Bucks win.
Wow, we have similar taste there, except for opposite. I think this is gonna be the Eagles, special game of the year. The upset special, and I got the Eagles winning 31-28. But like you said, I think it's gonna be a close game. It's really gonna come down to who has the ball last. You know what I'm saying? I can see it being 28-28. Somehow the Eagles defense pull a miracle. And get an interception, have us all happy, and then go kick that field goal to win the game. So. Greg Gassier said 31-27 Bucks. You too? Oh no, he said that was your score. Oh, that's what he thinks is going to be too. Are you saying that that's what you think going to be too, or are you saying that that's what he has said? That's the number you said, right? 31-27.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a tight game. I do think both teams are gonna play well. They're gonna want to win on prime time, and I just think that I think the Bucks are the better team, so they're gonna edge it out. I thought it's gonna be a nail biter. I think it's definitely gonna go like you said. I think it's gonna come down to the final, probably 4 or 5 minutes of the game. So we'll see what happens.
All right, now you guys got your score prediction. Now we out for real this time. Fly, Eagles, fly. See you next time. Peace. Yeah.